Jen here, and today I'm going to show you how to make Auntie Jen's gluten-free biscuits. My family absolutely love them, and I bet yours will too. So let's get baking. These are all the food products you'll need to make Auntie Jen's gluten-free biscuits. Okay, here's how we start making the Auntie Jen's gluten-free biscuits. First thing we're going to do is turn our oven on and let it preheat to 400 degrees. Okay, we've got that preheating now. Okay, and then we're going to melt some butter to put on top of our biscuits later, so let's go ahead and do that. And I usually put about, well, let's see here, one, and these are pretty good chunks, okay? Two, three, and we'll try about 4 big chunks of butter like that. And we're going to melt this for about 30 seconds. So let's do that. And while we're waiting on that, we can go ahead and start dealing with our flour or our Bisquick. So we're going to use about 2 cups of Bisquick for this. Now I usually make them heapy, so that's what my cup looks like. It's probably a little bit more than a cup. So we're just going to put that in our shallow dish. I'm going to get the second. Our butter's done. So basically that's really about 1 package of Bisquick, so I'm just going to dump it all in there. Okay. Alright, got our Bisquick in there now. Let's go ahead and get our butter out of the microwave. Okay, it's almost melted, not quite. I want to melt it just a little more, so let's do another 15 seconds. That was cold butter out of the refrigerator, so probably takes a little bit longer for it. While that's doing that, we'll start putting in little chunks of butter all across the top here. And they're about yay big. See if you can see that. That's about the size I'm putting in. And we're wanting to put this all across the top. Okay, let me get my butter out. More like it. Melted butter. Okay, let's finish working on our butter here. So this does take quite a bit of butter to make, but it's really good. It don't matter really about the chunks, just somewhat reasonable, because you can always chop them up into the flour, which is what we're going to do here in just a minute. Okay. We're getting close now. Okay, you can see how much I've got. I've kind of covered the top just a little bit there with everything. All the top covered. Okay, let's put our butter back up now. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of take our spoon, our big tablespoon here, and chop up that butter into the flour. I try to get it about pea size. Or somewhere in that vicinity. Okay, we kind of got it mixed up in there fairly decent. And I want to try to spread the butter around in the flour. Alright, so I'm going to make me a little bit of a well here in the center. Because the next thing we're going to do is add our 3 eggs. And as you can see, I've already cracked and scrambled them up a bit. So we're just going to put our eggs in there. And now what we're going to do is just kind of mix this egg into the Bisquick. You kind of got to stir it a little easy or you'll have flour all over your kitchen. So you don't want to do that. You can see it's trying to make your Bisquick kind of lumpy looking, which that's what you want it to do. Okay, see how that looks? Now we're going to start adding some of our milk in. Now what I usually do with my milk, I really don't measure it out. I just put enough in to where it gets to the consistency I want it. And you can watch me how I do this. I'll put in a little at a time. So we're going to put in enough right there. You don't want to overload it because you're going to mix it in a little bit by little bit. And I'm just pulling it into that milk and trying to stir it around and get it to where it's the consistency I want it. You want it to be, winds up being dough-like. It's what you want it to look like when you're finished. Mine will be a little bit more moist than most just normal biscuit baking will be, but I'll show you how we remedy that later. Okay. You can see it's getting a little dry and kind of chunking off a little, so we're going to turn it around here and put a little more milk in. I'm probably pouring in about I'd say close to 1/4 of a cup each time. And like I said before, I rarely use a measuring cup. I've always just eyeballed it, as most people say. And really it's just getting it to a consistency that you can make biscuits out of it. Okay, we're getting there. We're about to get all of our flour into that. And you can see it's kind of a thick consistency. And you want it to be like that. Try to mix mine up pretty good to make sure all the flour, there's no dry flour in there. Okay, Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, see what it looks like? And you can see how it stirs. It's kind of thick. It's not coming off my spoon real easy. So that's about the consistency you want right there, okay? All right. Now, I'll let you watch this gluten-free tip while I wash my hands and clean up my workstation, and I'll show you how to get the biscuits rolled out in the pan. All right, we're back. I have got my baking pan, and this is a 11 by 17 baking pan, and it's non-stick, so that's what we're using there. And of course our biscuit dough. I have some Biscuits, you'll see what we'll do with that, and our melted butter. So right now, we're just going to take a spoonful, about that big, and we're going to start dropping it onto our baking sheet. And you probably will have to take your finger and push it off a little bit. You want to leave some room around the edges. Okay? And you can make these biscuits as big or as little as you want to. Just remember though, the bigger and the littler it is, it'll affect your baking time. I usually try to get about 15 biscuits out of this. We're just dropping them on there. Spoonful at a time. And you can always add more to the top if you need to, if you have a lot of biscuit dough left. So just make a bigger biscuit. And again, I'm leaving room between each biscuit. You don't want to put them up together or you'll have just one big biscuit. Okay, I see I've got a little bit of dough still left, so I'm going to look at some of my biscuits here and some of the smaller ones. I'm just going to add it to it. Don't like to waste anything, especially when it comes to food. It's too expensive not to eat. Okay. Alright, I've about cleaned out my dish here. Okay, I'm going to rinse this off and I'll be right back. Now, you can see we've got all of our biscuit dough into our pan. And now what we're going to do is take some more Biscuit and we're going to just, what I do is I cut my Biscuit bag to the side. And I do that for a reason, because sometimes when I make biscuits, I just hold it about this and just let a little bit of biscuit flour out. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to hold the end of my biscuit cut, and then I'm just going to shake out on the top of these biscuits some more of this Biscuit. So we're going to put it on each one. And I'm putting quite a bit. Basically just covering the top. This helps me to shape the biscuit without getting dough everywhere. And it does shape it, help shape into an actual looking biscuit instead of just drops on the sheet, on the baking sheet. that's what we're going to do with this. It's okay if you get flour into the baking dish. You'll have some butter that'll take care of that later. And this is good for when you're shaping it. It helps keep the dough from sticking to your fingers. Alright, and we've got that covered. Now, see what that looks like? Okay, now what we're going to do, I'm just going to take my hands and I'm going to shape this into a biscuit. So what we're going to do is just pat down lightly on the top. Now again, you can make these biscuits as thick or as thin as you want to. Some people like thinner biscuits, some like thicker. If you want them thick, you know, just bunch them up into a circle that looks pretty thick. And that's kind of what this one is. See, I'm just patting the flour on the top, and then I'm taking my fingers and shaping the sides into a round circle in the biscuit shape. And if you get some, you know, like some of your biscuit dough gets too close to the edge, you can scoot it to the center or over into the pan a little better while you're doing this. Now my family loves these biscuits. My husband is not a biscuit eater, but he loves these biscuits. And so does my grandson. Of course I do too. Actually, my whole family loves these biscuits. But the men in the family seem to like them even better than the women do, but I love them myself. As you can see, I've already shaped out the biscuits, and that's what it looks like when you get that done. The last thing we're going to do before we stick them in the oven is put our butter on top. So you remember that butter that we melted in the microwave? This is what we're going to do with it. I'm going to take like a big tablespoon, and I'm just going to put a little on the top and smear it over. Now where you've got that flour on the top, it'll try to not cover very well at first. So you just have to put, you know, a little more butter on it each time and just put it on the top. Okay? We're going to do each biscuit like that. And basically what you want to do is just make sure you cover all the top, and especially where you've got that loose flour on there. You want to make sure it's covered with this butter. Now it'll roll down into your baking dish, but that's okay. I'll do another one here. And you can see what I'm doing. Now if you run out of butter, say you don't have enough, you can always just microwave a little bit more to add onto the top. But usually this does it for me. So, alright, I'm going to finish buttering the tops of these, and I'll be back with you here in just a minute. Alright, I've finished putting the butter on the top, and this is what it looks like. And you can see there's some butter running around in the bottom of the pan. That's okay. It'll all get absorbed up, mostly. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put it in our oven. And we're going to put it on the bottom rack, and I've got it about the second space up. So we're going to put it in, close our oven up, and we'll come back and check it in about 10 minutes. Alright, we're going to check out our biscuits right now. Let's see what they look like. Oh yeah, they're getting golden brown. Won't be much longer, they'll be done. See that? That looks really good. We'll let them bake probably another 5 minutes, and then they'll be done. So we'll be back here in just a moment. Alright, our biscuits are done. So let's turn off our oven, and let's get the biscuits out. Does that not look good? Oh, they smell good too. Now you'll notice the biscuits kind of flattened out a little bit as they cooked, but that's okay. They still taste great. So now we're going to get them out of this. And I usually just take a egg turner that's a plastic one or a spatula, and I just get them out and I put a paper towel in a colander, and I just move them over to that. And you just want to be gentle getting them out of the thing, or you can tear them up. So we just want to do that. And you can see I broke that one, but that's okay. We'll eat that too. But those look great. All right, I'm going to finish putting the rest of these in the colander, and I'll be back and show you the finished product again here in just a moment. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to flash freeze these biscuits so that you can have them to eat anytime you want. So what we're going to do, I've got some parchment paper here, and I've also put it on a little pan here. And we're going to just put all the biscuits on our parchment paper. And you'll leave a little bit of room in between because you don't want them sticking together. We're going to just do it like this. Now if you got a lot more biscuits left, you may want to get a bigger pan. Just depends on how many you got. That was just enough. Alright, so we've got our biscuits in our pan like that, and you can see there's a little bit of room between each one. Alright, now we're going to put them in the freezer, and we're going to leave this for about 2.5 hours. Then we'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, our biscuits have been flash freezing for about 2.5 hours. So let's get them out of the freezer and see what they look like. Okay, yep, they're frozen up. And that's what you want to do when you flash freeze. You want to get them frozen. And now what we're going to do is transfer them to a baggie. And I've already wrote my date on there. And you're just going to put these in a baggie. Seal them up good. Make sure you try to get all the air out that you can. Just close them up. Then we're going to put them back in the freezer. And now all you have to do is when you want a biscuit is just go ahead and whenever you're ready to eat it, just get you one out or however many you need, microwave them, and you'll be ready to eat a biscuit. So that's what we do with flash freezing the biscuits. Hope you enjoy. This is how you make Auntie Jen's gluten-free biscuits, and they are so good, so delicious. Smells great. Alright, make sure to leave me a comment, and also make sure to subscribe and share so everybody else can catch this gluten-free biscuit recipe. It's really good. Alright, Auntie Jen signing off. I'll catch you on the next recipe.